Hey y'all, I'm in my car again. This will be the last video I film in my car because I should be home alone next week. If you guys didn't watch my last video, basically my house is a COVID house right now. And here's a little update for you guys if you did watch that video. John has COVID. I do not. So far I'm negative. I don't know how, because John's mom and John both had COVID and I was around John. I've been around both of them like this entire time. I'm getting tested again tomorrow, so on Friday. It's weird talking about time while I'm filming a video because my videos don't go out until like days after I film them. So I'm getting another test on Friday and probably on Saturday just to be safe because I want to do something for Halloween really bad. But I'm probably not going to because I don't want to leave my house just in case. Like, I don't know. I'm probably not going to do anything. But so far, so good. I don't have COVID. And I think it's because I already had it. Because my vaccine, by the way, I got Johnson & Johnson like 6 months ago. Apparently, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine goes from like 70 to 80% effective to 3% effective after 6 months. Like, okay, like, why? So my vaccine is pretty much not doing anything anymore, so I need to get a booster shot, which I don't want to because I hate shots, but I am not sick. So my 3%... and I think the fact that I had it before is probably protecting me right now, so I do not have COVID. I feel fine. I don't even have any symptoms. John is kind of on the comeback a little bit. He's still really lethargic, so we'll see what happens within the next couple of days. He's supposed to go back to work next week. So that's kind of a short summary of what's going on. If you don't know why I'm in my car, it's because I hate filming while there are people in my house, and John is currently in the home, and I don't want to film with him in the house. I just hate it. It makes me anxious. But filming in the car is a little bit more, it's worse. Filming in my car is worse because my neighbors can see me. My windows are not tinted, clearly. So we're just gonna pretend like my neighbors aren't judging me. But hey y'all, I think I already said that, but I am back and I have more paranormal stories that I'm very scared to read today. I picked out 3 stories. I think they're kind of long, so it should be like a longer video. It's me trying to make up for the fact that I've barely uploaded recently, so there's that. And I think I've made it so that I don't have to get out of my car to get every story to load. I think I did it. So I won't have to like do my little run from back here to my front door just to get Wi-Fi because my neighborhood does not have service. Like, we're in the middle of nowhere, so we have no service out here. So I only get service when I have Wi-Fi. So I think I did it so that I don't have to go back to my front door every time I need a new story. We're gonna get started. This first story says, the Ouija board experience that changed us. Also, I just want to say really quickly, I kind of like filming in my car. It's very comfortable. I have a seat. It's kind of nice. But I'm gonna read. Hi babe, my name is Ashlyn. I'm a 23-year-old female and I really hope this gets to your channel or at least you read it. I have a ton of paranormal and Ouija board stories that I will be sharing with you. The story took place when I was 13 or 14 and it's 100% true and told from my point of view. All names will be changed in the story besides mine for privacy reasons. I was very young and stupid when I was in junior high and I suggest to everyone who hears this to never play with a Ouija board. It has forever changed my life. I'm not sure why or how playing with a Ouija board ever came up between our friend group, but my best friend Amber and I were the ones that made the Ouija board and constantly wanted to play. It's safe to say we were obsessed with it. We made our board out of a pizza box and used a small glass dish as the planchette. None of our friends in our group believed it at first, especially because of the fact that it was homemade. But after a few sessions, everyone was a believer and it became the center of our friend group. It was a typical school night with about 5 of us playing that night. We usually played it in Amber's basement where her room was because we didn't want her parents finding out about the board. They are religious and would never condone us to use one. But that night her parents weren't home and we decided to play it upstairs in the front room. Our sessions usually consisted of us speaking with an entity by the name of Tristan. On this particular night, we were about 20 to 30 minutes into playing the Ouija board and speaking to Tristan, when Amber informed all of us that one of our friends from school wanted to come over and hang out with us. This friend was not a close friend of ours. We only saw him in school, but we all really liked him and he was a very hilarious individual that was never serious. He was kind to everyone and always had a smile on his face and never had a conversation without constant jokes being made. We'll call him Caleb. So happily, we all chimed in letting Amber know that we would be happy to have him over. I asked Amber if he knew we were playing with the Ouija board, to which she replied with a sneaky expression, no. In my head, I was excited to hear this. I really enjoyed when people who have never experienced playing a Ouija board played with us, because they never left being a non-believer of the board. I don't know why I enjoyed bringing people into such a sick and twisted game, but it made me feel like I achieved something whenever someone who didn't believe in it came out believing. Anyways, it took about another 15 minutes before Caleb showed up, and once he walked into the door, his familiar face suddenly dropped into a nervous and uncomfortable frown as he saw what was going on. It seemed that everyone ignored that as we all greeted him warmly, and after about 5 minutes he seemed to be back to normal as we nonchalantly told him about what we were doing and how cool it was. He nervously sat down but seemed a little excited. There were now 2 of us standing up spectating the game, and Amber, me, our friend Hayden, and Caleb were sitting down around the board, patiently waiting to place our fingers back on the planchette since we got confirmation from Caleb that he would like to play. We were all asking Caleb questions to get an idea of his feelings about the board, and to my excitement, he was laughing and joking about the fact that there's no way this whole Ouija board and talking to the dead thing is real. I excitedly asked him if there's anything he would like to ask the board that no one in the room would know. He paused for a minute. He said, "Yeah, I think so." Me, Amber, Hayden, and Caleb placed each of our pointer fingers onto the planchette and patiently waited for Caleb to ask his question. I broke the silence by asking if we were still speaking to our well-known entity, Tristan. The planchette slowly moved to yes. Caleb didn't look amused by this, as he smiled and said, "Okay, any of you could have moved that." I said, "Yeah, true, so ask your question that none of us would know." He smiled at me and asked hesitantly, what did I eat for breakfast?" We all chuckled as the planchette slowly moved to cereal. We all looked at Caleb to see his reaction as he said, "Yeah, but what kind?" The planchette moved to mini. I said, "Mini wheats?" The planchette stopped what it was spelling and slowly moved to yes. We all looked for Caleb's reaction and he said a little nervously, "That was just a lucky guess. It's a popular cereal." To which I chimed in and said, "If you want to believe that this thing works, you have to ask the board something that no one in the room would know, something none of us could guess." He had a determined look on his face as if he was pondering his next question really hard. We let him think for a little while as we continued playing, asking Tristan some more questions. After a few more questions, Caleb let us all know he was ready to ask another question. We all turned our attention towards him. He said, "I know for a fact that no one in this room, or even in our whole school, knows the answer to this question I'm going to ask. My family are the only ones who know this, but just to be sure, I only want Ashlyn and Amber's hands on the planchette." He gestured towards us and smiled as he removed his fingers from it and said, "You two know me the least, and I don't want my fingers on it just in case I move it subconsciously." We obliged, and we both kept our fingers on the planchette as Hayden also moved away and sat back. I nervously but excitedly looked at Caleb and waited for him to ask his question. He quickly and loudly sighed and then said, "What is my middle name?" I instantly felt the vibes in the room change, from a lighthearted and giddy feeling to an intense darkness. I shuddered from head to toe as I felt chills rush over my entire body. I was scared, and I didn't know why, but I had a feeling we weren't speaking with Tristan anymore. I looked next to me at Amber, and she had the same look in her eyes, a look of fear. The planchette moved so fast that it flew out from under my fingers for a second. I quickly put them back on and closely watched so I wouldn't miss what it spelled. The planchette moved to it's. There was a pause. Me. Another pause. Malik. I said it out loud. "It's me, Malik?" We all looked at Caleb as the smile once again turned, this time into a dreaded, terrified but blank expression. A look I've never seen before. Silence. Hayden said, "Well, is that your middle name?" Caleb stuttered as he said, "No. No way." He quickly stood up and insisted he needed to leave. We all just stared at him as a few of my friends tried to reason with him and ask what was going on and if he was okay. He placed his arms out in front of him, gesturing for no one to come near him or follow him as he rushed out of Amber's house and walked home. For the next half hour or so, we didn't play the Ouija board. We sat and talked about what just happened and desperately tried texting and calling Caleb to no avail. We didn't see him at school for the rest of the week, and when he did show up, he was not the same smiling, joking boy he used to be, and he mostly ignored us, understandably. Years later, he admitted to Amber what really happened. He didn't even have a middle name, but when he was younger, he would complain to his parents about it because all of his friends had one, so they told him that before he was born, they were debating on whether or not they were going to name him Caleb or Malik. When he was born, they started calling him Caleb Malik, and settled on Caleb, but the nickname was Caleb Malik. He was called this by his parents for the first few years of his life. Over time, only his mom would call him Caleb Malik once in a while. When he was 11, his mom got into a horrible car accident with a drunk driver and was in a coma for weeks. She ended up passing away. Caleb said that after she died, he would have these recurring dreams where his mother would come to him, and the dreams would always end with his mother gently stroking his face and saying, "It's me, Malik. My sweet Caleb Malik." Oh, I have chills. You're joking. Oh my god. Okay, the way that I read it, and I'm not going to go back and reread it with the correct tone, but it was like, it's me Malik. Like, it's me Malik, that's my name. Not like, it's me, comma, Malik. You should have put a comma, so I would have known. I'm just kidding, it was fine. But I don't know what to say. That's crazy. I just saw something move outside, and I'm outside, so I'm obviously gonna see things move outside, but it freaked me out because I thought it was a human. I have no words for that story. That's just absolutely insane, and it's very sad, and I I completely understand why he left in a hurry and didn't want to talk to you again. I completely get it. My camera's gonna stop recording. That was a long story. And my plan worked. The story loaded and I don't even have to run to my front door. So this next one says, I keep having paranormal experiences in the bathroom. This is more of a lighthearted post since a lot of the stories on here involve evil entities. So here's a rather amusing phenomenon that I keep experiencing. I keep getting haunted in the bathroom. Also, I'll probably be posting a lot here, so I apologize. I have a lot of paranormal experiences. This happened when I was 10. I was on vacation in New Orleans with my mom, and we stayed at what we didn't know was one of the most haunted hotels in the city. Pretty much every hotel there is haunted though, so it's no surprise. She let me pick out the hotel I was most drawn to, as she's very intrigued by the paranormal as well. So she let me pick out which place called out to me so I could have my own experience. When we arrived, I had to go to the bathroom, so I located the bathroom in the lobby and went in. I had brought a toy in with me, and I placed it on the sink while I did my business. When I went to pick it up, I ended up accidentally dropping it, but somehow it went flying back up to the sink, landing perfectly where I had set it down before. I smiled and thanked the ghost before exiting. This next one happened more recently, back in July. My mom had taken me on a road trip and we were in West Virginia touring the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. At one point on the tour, we stopped in front of what used to be the boys' bathroom, and something grabbed my hand. At first, I thought something had fallen on it. It was that prominent of a sensation. I examined my hand and the floor around it, thinking something had fallen, but there was nothing in sight. The one I'm about to tell was actually the first time it happened to me, all the way back in kindergarten. These are out of sequence because I'm just telling them in order that I recall them. In my kindergarten classroom, we had a bathroom within the room and the door to it was open. The desk I sat at was right in front of it and the seat I sat in gave me a view of the inside. It was almost dismissal, so I was playing with some toys. I think they were My Little Ponies, but I can't remember exactly because it was kindergarten. And all of a sudden we heard the sink turn on inside of the bathroom. We both turned to look and to our shock, nobody was in there, just the sink running. Nobody was even in the area except for us, so it couldn't have been some sneaky little kid trying to pull a prank. Besides, I could see right into the bathroom when the door was open, so I would have noticed if somebody had gone in. We started telling everyone we could, and we caused quite an uproar. The teacher had to calm us down, check the bathroom, and assure us that we were safe. This one is the most recent one. I was in the bathroom of my house. It was the middle of the night and no one was awake, so I left the door open because nobody would see. There's a mirror right across from the toilet, and if the door is open, you can see a glimpse of the hallway and the kitchen. I looked up at the mirror and noticed a figure. It was white and hazy, as if it were made out of mist. It was running past the bathroom. I didn't sense any negative intentions or energy from it, so I let it be. Back in October 2020, I was on a road trip again. This one was for my birthday. My mom was driving me around the mountainous roads. If you couldn't tell by now, I'm not old enough to drive. And we came across what looked to be an abandoned bathroom. My mom stopped the car and we got out to investigate. Sure enough, it was a bathroom. I had a spirit box, so I fired it up and some words came through the speaker. Where am I? And heart attack. Perhaps the spirit had a heart attack while using the bathroom. As we returned to the car, I heard leaves crunching, as if something were walking off into the woods, but nobody was there. That was an interesting experience. I've also walked in on ghosts multiple times. I've had my EMF meter on, and the second I'd enter a bathroom, it would go red instantly. I hope you enjoyed these stories, and as someone with an immature sense of humor, I love this phenomenon. Honestly, I really like that. I love that. I feel like not all the stories I read have to be super scary or super intense. I feel like they can be kind of funny stories like that. So I liked that one. It's something different. But this last story I'm gonna read says, the 3 a.m. experience that solidified my belief in the paranormal. Hi Courtney, my name is Sophie and I'm from the UK, so sorry if my way of typing seems off. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you for posting your videos. I'm so glad to have found a community where I feel like I can speak about the experiences I've gone through in the past without the usual judging looks or comments. I love hearing other people's experiences and I'm hoping you will enjoy mine too. As the title suggests, when I was younger, before the age of 15, I didn't really believe in the paranormal. I was the usual wimpy kid. I didn't like horror movies even though my dad convinced me into watching some for him, and I was scared of the dark, but I didn't necessarily believe that ghosts were real. I didn't see how it could be possible at that point, and most of my nightmares came from horror movie scenes rather than anything in reality. So, this first encounter of mine happened on a school night when I was 15. I'd been up until 11 p.m. finishing off my art sketches for the next day, as that particular teacher was entirely at your throat with getting work done, and I didn't particularly fancy a detention the next day. By the time I actually got to bed, I was so tired that I fell asleep instantly. Only a few hours later, I woke up, and I was disoriented at first and thought that I had just woken up at my usual time to get ready for school, until I looked at my clock and saw it was around 3:20 a.m. I remember just laying there for a while, my sleep-riddled brain trying to figure out why I'd woken up so suddenly and so early in the morning. Nowadays, this happens a lot, but when I was younger, I almost always slept straight through the night. My house at the time was an old and small Victorian-style house, so you could hear all sorts of creaks or small noises in the night, which I was used to by then. This was not one of those noises. After a few moments, I started to hear quiet creaks in a slow rhythm. I was so confused. It took me a second or two to realize it sounded just like someone trying to quietly walk up the stairs. I thought I was hearing things. John, go away!
Why aren't you filming the house?
Because I don't want to. I don't want you to listen to me. Go away! Anyways, where was that? I thought I was hearing things, imagining the sound. So I rolled my eyes at myself. I realized I wasn't when the noise just kept coming, louder and closer, like someone was really ascending the stairs. And that's when I started to feel terrified. My dad was away at work, my mom was snoring in her bedroom, and I have no siblings. My initial reaction was that someone had broken in, so I did what any scared person would do. I pulled my duvet up over my face, leaving a small gap so I could peek out at my door. The stepping noise continued until whoever or whatever it was reached the top of the stairs. Then there was a long, awful period of silence. It was during this time I was trying so hard to calm myself down, trying to rationalize the situation as me dreaming, but I knew that I was awake. I was completely aware of everything, could hear my heart pounding in my ears. Noises started again, but this was different. It sounded like someone dragging their feet while walking, like it was an effort, or they were too exhausted to try hard enough to lift their feet. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I think I understand what you mean. It's like the sound of walking on carpet with socks on, but you can hear the drag. But this was a lot heavier, an unmistakable sound. But the way these steps sounded was so unnerving, so slow, and out of nowhere I just got this feeling of dread in my stomach, like something was entirely wrong. Like my fight or flight instinct had kicked in and was screaming at me that this was bad. I couldn't even move though. I was frozen there under my duvet, eyes wide and terrified as I just watched my door through the small gap. My bedroom was at the end of the hallway from the stairs, and this noise was getting closer and closer to my door until it stopped right outside. I kept my bedroom door open a little at night so my cat could come in and out as she pleased, and I could not see any form of shadow or anything on the other side. Nothing to show that it might be a living human. I was straining my ears so hard, focusing for the slightest sound of my door opening, as it made an awful sound. So, I heard whatever it was breathing after a while. Shallow breathing, almost sounding breathless. I've never felt as terrified as I did in that moment. I was so scared that I honestly didn't know what to do. I don't know how long I laid there, staring at my door and listening to these awful, uneven breaths. But I must have fallen asleep somehow, as nothing further happened, and I woke up from my school alarm the next morning. I remember the events of the night before so clearly, wondering what state my house would be in and if the intruder had stolen anything. I heard my mom making tea downstairs, so hearing her up and about unharmed calmed me, and I managed to get ready for school, still feeling jittery and scared. The biggest surprise came when I opened my door. Nothing was out of place or broken, and after investigating the rest of the house, nothing was missing. If this was an intruder and I'd convinced myself it was, why did they not take anything? I tried to brush it off, my mind wondering if it was paranormal, but I didn't allow myself to go there at that point. Having my usual breakfast, listening to the radio with my mom, was when I heard what absolutely chilled me to the core. The early hours of that morning, a man had died after losing control of his motorcycle and crashing into a bike stand on the main road that our house was just a block from. The timing of the incident, the fact that the sound I heard sounded heavy like boots, motorcycle boots, and that I somehow woke up right after it happened just absolutely got to me. And I remember instantly telling my mom about what I had experienced and if she thought it was the spirit of the man wandering, searching for something. My mom, being the strong skeptic she is, just waved her hand and said, "You must have been dreaming. That can't be possible." I was annoyed that she wasn't taking me seriously, so I explained it to my friends at school, and they did think it was a strange coincidence, but again, they're skeptics, so they didn't really believe it was anything paranormal. I was nervous for days and scared of going to bed and staying up until I absolutely had to sleep. Thankfully, nothing further happened, which again makes me think even more that what I experienced was related to the man. When my dad got back at the weekend, I begged and begged for him to check the security cameras we had outside of our house for the early hours of that morning, and when he finally did, he found nothing. No signs of someone breaking in or any other people coming near the house. I became obsessed with the paranormal then, searching for any information or signs of spirits, and I saw that 3 a.m. was the time when the veil between worlds was thinnest. That just solidified it for me. What I experienced was paranormal, and my belief in ghosts and the afterlife began. Maybe it was just a coincidence, and I don't know why the spirit would have come into our house of all places, but to me, I can't explain it any other way. Since this experience, I've had more things happen. The current house I live in has spirits that make appearances more frequently in the last couple of years, so I'll explain these in another post to save this from being super long. Thank you for reading, and sorry if I rambled. That blows my mind. I don't know. First of all, I would like to say, and I've said this before, the idea, or just like imagining something walking, like a spirit walking, and getting closer to you, that freaks me the fuck out. Like that, I hate like the TikToks that I see where you hear the running. Oh my god, I cannot handle those. So I genuinely don't know what I would do if I was just laying in bed and I heard footsteps like coming up my stairs, coming towards my door. Like, I don't know, I just know. But I feel like I don't know how to explain it either. And it's crazy that that happened, like the motorcycle accident happened that night around the same time. I don't know how to explain it either. It is random, or it would be random if they came to your home, because like why? But at the same time, like, can you even explain anything paranormal? Like, does anything even make sense? That is all I'm going to read for now. If you have any stories that you would like to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. I forgot to say that in my last video, so if you have any like let's not meet stories or paranormal stories, anything of that sort, put them on the subreddit and I would love to read them on my channel. I am sweating buckets because the air conditioning was a little loud in my last video, so I turned it down to 1 notch this time, so it's really hot. And also, I think someone's leaf blowing or something, and I don't want anyone to watch me get out of my car with a giant camera, so I'm gonna go. But I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye. No, really, I have nothing to say. Nothing. Except happy Halloween. It's Halloween when I'm posting this. I forgot to say that at the beginning. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween. This is my final Halloween shirt. I hope you enjoyed it. This is what I was planning on wearing on Halloween. I have a matching shirt with John. I also have gloves and socks that are like skeletons, but unfortunately, we will not be celebrating Halloween because of COVID, so that sucks. I want to hand out candy still. If I'm negative, I feel like if I wear a mask, I'll be okay, but I don't think I'm going to hand out candy. I don't even think I want to risk it. I'll probably just put candy out front, which sucks because I love handing out candy on Halloween. Sucks, but okay, I'm really going to go. I love you. See you.